Hey, it's Kyle Batson with your top stories on Sports 1140. Your Sacramento Kings are back in action tonight. They're at home to welcome in the number one seed in the West, the Denver Nuggets. That's Mike Malone's Nuggets. We'll have full coverage of that one right here on Sports 1140, beginning with game night at 5:30. Kings live at 6:30, and tip-off is at 7 o'clock.
That's me, dude. I'm sorry. I'm playing something out of my board here that I shouldn't be.
The NFL has selected the Caesars Entertainment Corporation as an official casino sponsor. It'll be the NFL's first official casino sponsor and likely laying the groundwork for legalized sports
Wow, that's
gambling.
a big assumption, Kyle. Likely.
And maybe, possibly, potentially.
No, they're not.
It's 7:03.
That's my new bit.
Time to plan your football playoff party treats. Start at your local Sprouts Farmers Market and Sprouts.com.
Rise and shine, sleepyhead.
I'm not letting you go to work today.
Wait, what?
Everybody, listen up.
Welcome to The Drive.
Morning, morning, morning.
You're gonna talk.
Get on the phone at 339-1140.
Pretty awesome, huh?
Jump in on our text line at 441140.
Everyone is talking about it. You must know that.
The Drive starts now.
Sam Amick's going to join us at 8:05 on the Fire Wings hotline. You can call us at 1-800-920-1140 and join us yourself on your very own Fire Wings hotline. Want to thank Jiffy Lube for not only sponsoring our text line that you guys love so much at 441140, but also along with the Sacramento Republic sponsoring our video cast. You can watch each and every day. Just go to KHTK.com. You can check it out. You can see Kyle stretching right now in his Peanuts sweatshirt.
It's actually a Harry Potter
Harry
sweater.
Potter. I see that. I couldn't see it because of the glare. Is that Harry and Hedwig and Lucy's psychologist thing?
Yeah, and it says the wizard is in.
Congratulations to me. I finally completed Kingdom Hearts on
Nice, dude.
my PlayStation.
Really proud
That's a
of you.
game that came out when the PlayStation 2 was out, and I finally
Nice, man.
trying to complete Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 before 3 comes
Sure.
out January 29th.
A lot of people were really excited about 3s.
I'm very excited.
I saw somebody on Twitter yesterday say that they had never seen or read a Harry Potter movie or book. And for Christmas, they got all 7 books.
Yeah.
And the person and their kids are reading a chapter a night. And I was so jealous of that person that they get to immerse themselves in the Harry Potter universe for the first time.
I was just going to say, when I hear that somebody hasn't read a Harry Potter book, I tell them, I'm really jealous of you.
Yeah.
I wish I could go back. I wish I used to stand in line. That's how old it was. I used to stand in line at 11:30 at Tower Records and books to get the copy. Having a copy I knew was already being delivered at 8:30 the next morning, but I wanted to get it the night before, read it, and then the other copy I'd give, that my then girlfriend to read. I couldn't wait until 8:30.
Yeah.
And I would stay. It became a tradition starting with book 4, Goblet of Fire, where I would read all the books. I would just stay up all night reading, and I'd usually have them done sometime in the afternoon and then just crash out for a day and a half.
Yeah.
Well, that was just a big nerdy segment we just did there. Woof.
So good.
Kings Denver tonight. Marvin Bagley update. All accounts, including he, saying that he said yesterday.
No, he didn't.
That he doesn't have any pain anymore, and now it's just a matter of getting back into game shape. He will play sooner rather than later. Everybody wants to put a time on it. It wouldn't shock me if he played in the Warriors game, but it would shock me if he didn't play in the Magic game. That makes sense. I think if I had to guess, he's not coming back tonight. If I had to guess, he's either coming back versus the Warriors, which I'd give maybe a 25% chance.
The Warriors is Saturday.
I think so,
The 5th?
yeah. And then I think Orlando is Monday or Tuesday of next week. I would give it like a 75% chance he's coming back one of those 2 games. Somebody on the text line asked for an update and then said, hey, can I get an update on what the hell is a bone bruise? And this is our first couple days back. I remember getting into it with somebody on social media, shockingly enough, over a bone bruise. He commented to me that Marvin Bagley was soft. It's a bone bruise. How are you out for 2 weeks? And I think the problem there is just simple ignorance. I think a lot of people, myself included, for a long time didn't understand. You think of a bone bruise, I always thought it was you got hit so hard in the leg or something that it bruised all the way down to the bone and ouch. let me read you what a bone bruise is.
Can I say how it was explained to me once first?
Yes.
It was explained to me because I got one.
Mm-hmm.
And it was explained to me that basically the outer layer of your bone cracks.
Right.
Like
that's not fun.
No.
It is a traumatic injury to a bone that is less severe than a bone fracture. When you think of bruise, you might think of a black and blue mark on your skin, but bruises can also happen to muscle and bone. This happens when an injury damages small blood vessels and causes blood and fluid to leak into the nearby tissues and blood vessels. Bone is made of different kinds of tissue. The periosteum, probably not pronouncing that right, is a thin layer of tissue that covers most of a bone. When bones come together, there's usually a layer of cartilage on the edges. Deep inside the bone is an area called the medulla. It contains the bone marrow and fibrous tissue.
The medulla oblongata.
With a bone fracture, all of those places have been broken. With a bone bruise, it just damages some of it, perhaps causing blood to build up in an area. I don't want to get into all the medical terms here, which is why I'm kind of pausing. But when you look at Marvin's injury when it happened, for example, there was no contact with the leg on the ground. Go back and look at it. What happens is he hit the ground and he slammed his foot into the ground, causing his leg bones to cram together and not breaking his leg, not fracturing his leg, but the next worst thing to that.
And it hurts. It's not like a normal bruise where it's only to the touch. It's like walking on it hurts.
Yeah. Because you tend to walk on your legs.
Yeah, it's almost, it's like you just said, it's just shy of a fracture.
Right. So
it's very painful.
As I had said to the guy, sign a waiver, come down to the station. Let me give you we will have a doctor come in and we will give you a bone bruise. Like, we'll give you a bone bruise, not in a mean way, like we're not going to fight. Come down, let us administer a bone bruise to you, and then report back in a week, and you tell us how it's been. I don't buy the whole you're soft if you have a bone bruise thing. Like, Marvin Bagley doesn't want to be playing right now.
Right, and this isn't, he has to be able to get out of bed to go drive to work and sit in his office chair. He has to be an elite athlete and compete against other elite athletes. It requires a level of health that a bone bruise doesn't allow you to achieve.
Right. From the 209. I've never read or watched Harry Potter. Never will. Okay, well, I'm sure J.K.
Cool.
Rowling's doing just fine. I don't get this.
I don't like that thing that you like. Okay. That's okay.
It is for babies. I read books about trucks and beer. Read books about men and muscles and Harry Potter.
I'm so manly, I forgot how to read.
Reading for sissy. I don't read. I don't put fruit in my beer either. I watch football and I read betting lines and I make money because I clock dollars. Don't read Harry Potter. It's for girls. Whatever. Mike Malone's back in town. Malone's back in town.
And even looking up at Malone's Nugget.
He's put together a really good Denver team that has a superstar player that's not a superstar, but plays like a superstar, in Nikola Jokic. Will this, by the way, this has the opportunity and most likely will, Kyle. I can tell you one prediction for tonight. This is about to be the greatest consecutive games against one team for Kitches. You had Nurkic and Jokic going back-to-back against the Kings. And Nurkic put up a line that has never been done before in the NBA. Jokic is a better player than Nurkic. No, don't give me that. Really?
No. That wasn't at you. That was a like yikes.
Yeah, he's
not at your take.
No,
but
okay, I got you. Like yikes, what? Right. Like Jokic is demonstrably better than Nurkic, and Nurkic is good.
Nurkic is a good player. Jokic might be the best center in the league.
Yeah, he might. And yeah, he might be better. Yes. All around, he may be better than Anthony Davis. I understand that's where people are going to freak out about.
I don't call Anthony Davis a center.
What do you call him, power forward? Okay.
I wouldn't call him the best big man in the league, but best, has a C.
I think Anthony
Plays the
Davis
5.
is better if you're comparing the two, but I think if people looked up Davis's numbers and Jokic's numbers, I think they'd be a little bit surprised at the comparisons between the two.
The other thing is that Anthony Davis is going to win a Defensive Player of the Year award.
Sure.
Jokic, you could dribble around Nikola Jokic.
7:35, we're going to get into this more. I also want to talk about what happened versus the Blazers. What happened in that final play, really kind of analyze that whole thing. And also take a look at this season as well and what's coming up. Because we're 2 games away from being done with the toughest part of the schedule.
Yep.
And I think that's important. Coming up next, go ahead.
Starting in this break, we've got some Kings tickets to give away. We've got 2 pairs of Kings tickets, so here's how we're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You can get 2 tickets to see the Sacramento Kings take on the Denver Nuggets tonight at the Golden One Center.
Mm-hmm.
Get more info at khtk.com. All KHTK giveaways are powered by RoosevilleAutomall.com. Here's how you're going to win. I'm going to put up in 2 places in the studio a phrase of the day, a secret phrase.
Okay.
And tune in to khtk.com, the live video stream. It'll be up during the stream. It'll also be up during the breaks. And at 8:05, when Sam Amick comes on, at 8:05, you're going to call 800-920-1140, and you're going to tell me the secret word, and then you win.
What if this whole time we've been saying it wrong? We've been saying Sam Amick, but really his last name is Mamick, and his first name is
Sa. Ask him.
We'll take a break. It's very easy. Go to khtk.com, as Kyle said. Just tune in. You'll see
Watch the video stream.
Secret phrase, not word.
Right, so you don't throw my whiteboard again.
We'll take a break. 4 Down Territory is next. Sports 1140 KHTK. Four Down Territory brought to you by Firewings. 21 different flavors to choose from is firewings.com. Just wing it. Kyle Madsen at the Kevin Mastodon Sports Desk. First down.
What NFL wildcard matchup are you most looking forward to?
Dude, it's a 3-way tie, and I don't know. And I know that's such a cop-out, but I I'm not excited by the Colts and Texans, which is why it'll probably be an amazing game. I'm very excited for the Seahawks and Cowboys in Dallas. Ezekiel Elliott saying he's ready to play him now. I'm very excited to see the Chargers at 12-4 go to Baltimore and face the 10-6 Ravens. Chargers are a better team, but Baltimore's playing fantastic right now. In fact, I just looked at some odds to win the Super Bowl. New Orleans was number 1. I think Baltimore was 4th or 5th. But I'm also excited to see the Eagles and Bears. I want to see how the Bears really do in their playoff debut with this squad. They're 12-4 against the defending champions with Nick Foles, with BDN rolling into Soldier Field.
I think that's the most intriguing storyline for sure, is the Eagles getting on another roll, but playing against a team who's emerged as a surprise contender out of the NFC.
You think that is that more intriguing than Chargers Ravens with Lamar Jackson and how Baltimore's playing, and then the Chargers who are 12-4?
I think so.
Is it more intriguing than Seattle and Dallas? And
I'm intrigued by Seattle and Dallas because I think there's a lot of money to be won on that game.
Dallas favored by 2.
See, where I do disagree with you, because I'm with you on all of the games have intrigue for sure. The Lamar Jackson and the Ravens thing, if they beat the Chargers, that is going to be the biggest story from the weekend, no matter how the other games go.
If the Ravens beat the Chargers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah. If Lamar Jackson goes out and has just a fantastic game, if they upset them and he throws for 103 yards and runs
not to nitpick,
first,
but is that going to be a bigger story than if the Eagles beat the Bears?
If the Eagles beat the Bears, but if the Ravens knock down the Chargers and Lamar Jackson throws for 200 yards and runs for 100, it's going to be this hey, look at this running quarterback. They're doing it again. That's going to be the national narrative.
Ravens favored in this game by 2.5 in Baltimore. Interestingly enough, they played the Chargers in Los Angeles and beat them 22-10 a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that defense is real.
That defense is really real.
I disagree, though, with your Texans-Colts take. Those are two of the hottest teams in the league to finish the year.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Colts finished, 9-1?
Yes.
And the Texans finished, they started 0-3, and what'd they finish? 12-4?
Yes.
Or were they 11-5?
Who are we talking about?
The Texans.
Texans started out, wasn't it 0-4, and then they went, 10-1 the rest of the way?
It was something crazy.
Yeah.
Either way, these are two of the hottest teams in the league. The Colts just knocked off the Texans in Houston to snap their long winning streak. And those are two teams, I think, that have sneaky good defenses and quarterbacks who can win them a game. And I'm very excited to see which of those teams emerges and whether they can make noise in the second round.
All starts at 1:35 our time. Colts and Texans this Saturday. Seahawks, Cowboys finish out that day. Chargers, Ravens, and Eagles, Bears starting on Sunday. Second down.
Second down.
Who's your offensive rookie of the year?
Offensive.
Who's your offensive rookie of the year?
Saquon Barkley. I mean,
You're probably right.
I am right. No, I'm not probably right.
Baker Mayfield set a record for touchdown passes by a rookie quarterback in,
happen.
what was it, like 12 games?
It's awesome. Won't happen. Saquon Barkley.
No, he was amazing.
It was
for
amazing.
Sure. For sure. But
Baker
when you
Mayfield
just look at these awards and narratives and stuff,
Sure.
and the way Baker Mayfield kind of caught people's attention on the Browns.
On the Browns.
Playing
the most important position in the game.
7 games with the Browns.
Yep. He will definitely finish second.
Yeah, I think so. If he had started and played the whole year and threw for 35 touchdowns and 4,000 yards, I think we might be looking at a different argument. But yeah, what Saquon did this year with the Giants, he lived up to all the hype. The Giants weren't very good because their offense stinks. But
imagine what
their
Saquon
quarterback
Barkley,
stinks.
what he would imagine putting him behind like a really good offensive line.
It would be unbelievable.
I think he would be. I think we would be after next year. If he had that same really good offensive line, we'd be saying he has a great chance of being the greatest running back of all time. All he has to do is stay healthy.
That's Bill Simmons' take.
Yeah.
That he's the best running back of all time.
Third down.
Certainly one of the most talented.
Third down.
What are your thoughts on Greg Papa as the new Niners play-by-play?
I love it. We talked about this a little bit earlier. I see, a couple Niner fans are like, we went from Joe Starkey to Ted Robinson, now this Greg Papa. Get the whole Raiders thing out of your head. Like, who cares? Greg Papa is easily a top 5 local, if not higher, local NFL broadcaster. He is tremendous on the radio. He is an encyclopedia. I'm regurgitating all the things we said earlier. And no shade at Ted Robinson. Ted Robinson was a solid
fantastic.
B+, just a reliable, good broadcaster. Greg Papa is one of the best.
The reason Greg Papa is so closely associated with people with the Raiders is because of how good he is as a voice there, how iconic he is as a voice in the Bay Area. And I think this is cool for the Niners. And if they have a turnaround similar to the one they had in 2011, where they go in and they are a playoff team and a Super Bowl contender, having Greg Papa's voice tied to that would be really cool.
I agree. I love it. As a Niner fan, I absolutely love it. Their broadcast team got a lot stronger yesterday with the hiring of Greg Papa, who we will hopefully have on the show tomorrow. Fourth down.
NFL ratings are up 5%, though red zone numbers are not released. How do you take in Sunday games?
I saw this 5% jump, and I think a lot of that's due to the fact that you had 2 years of downturn, and there really wasn't that big of an issue to begin with, as we made out. By we, I mean the media. I would love to see red zone numbers.
The media?
The media. No, that sounds like drugs.
You right.
I'd love to see red zone numbers because for years now, that's how I take in the NFL. I watched the Niners game. I watched the Thursday night game. I watch the Sunday night and Monday night games. Those are the games I watch solo. Everything else is red zone. And if I'm being truly honest, over the last couple of years, there's been a few Niner games that I start out watching and then you have multiple TVs and you can do all kinds of stuff. But I'll just watch red zone. And that has to do with fantasy football and just ADD, man. The red zone is a tremendous way to take in the NFL.
A lot of people I know have multiple televisions or multiple screens where they have red zone on one and whatever the local games are on the other one.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. The way I do it, because I needed to watch the Titans at the beginning of this year, we have my folks have Sunday ticket, so I'd go home and I'd hang out there. And some days we do the 8-game mix where we just have 8 different games on the TV.
Too much for me, dude. I can't do it.
Yeah, the way that works though is it's almost like a personal red zone.
Yeah.
Where you have either where the scores matter to you.
Right.
So you find what games are close, what games are good, and you flip over to those, or maybe you have a particular game with fantasy implications. And so that's cool, just kind of flipping back and forth to all the different games. That's how I do it.
Sam Amick will join us at 8:05. Coming up next, Kings versus Denver tonight. Let's just briefly look back at what happened versus the Blazers. Not like we did yesterday, but I really want to analyze some of the decisions that were made and were not made. We'll give you a Marvin Bagley update as well. And my question for the segment, Kyle, is going to be what is more important right now from a Kings fan's point of view? Development or wins? Development long-term or wins right now for a thirsty fan base? We will talk about that next, including whether or not the Kings need to make a move this year, which kind of ties into that question I just asked. The drive continues in a couple minutes. Sports 1140 KHTK.
Hey, it's Kyle Madsen with your top stories on Sports 1140. The Sacramento Kings are back in action tonight. They're at home welcoming in the Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets are the number 1 seed in the West. We'll have full coverage of that one right here on Sports 1140, beginning with game night at 5:30. Kings Live is at 6:30, and tip-off is set for 7 o'clock. Paul George was hit with a shower of boos from the Staples Center crowd last night, but he responded with 37 points in the Thunder's 107-100 win over the Lakers. I almost said the Lakers win, but Paul George chose not to play for the Lakers. And Gordon Hayward
need you.
And Gordon Hayward had a monster night for the Celtics in their 115-102 win over the Timberwolves. He poured in 35 points. He dished out 5 assists in his best game since returning from that gruesome leg injury last season. And the NFL has selected the Caesars Entertainment Corporation as their first ever official casino sponsor. It's 7:35. Time to plan your football playoff party treats. Start at your local Sprouts Farmers Market and Sprouts.com. Those are your top stories. Now back to the drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
It's The Drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
Remember earlier in the show, Kyle, when I said that we spent way too much time yesterday, and by we I mean me, yelling at a very small segment of fans.
I was in on it too, for what it's worth.
I know, but I'm driving the show. I'll take the blame here. And I don't want to focus on, today I wanted to analyze a little bit rather than, go after what was probably maybe 5 or 10% of the fan base being silly. But, I don't think I said anything. I know you heard my tease into this segment saying coming up next, we'll talk Kings Nuggets tonight. We'll revisit the Blazers game a little bit, analyze that. The question will be win now or development long term, which is more important to you as a fan, and should the Kings make a move? It just gets so difficult, and I just want to throw this out there, and then we'll move on. But I come back from break, and I read the text line from the 707. Are we throwing the development versus win debate out there because Dave has insider info that the front office can't complete a deal for a solid rotation guy? Sounds like another brainwash and save face attempt if so. Like, what happened to people?
Okay, now let's hang on. Let me find this text because I'm going to read it in a different voice.
Okay.
Let me find it.
Is it the voices? I read them
I think so. Because here, let's hear this like this. Mm-hmm. Are we throwing the development versus win debate out there because Dave has insider info on the front office, can't compete for a deal for a solid 2 rotations?
He means a solid rotation 3, I think, is what he's trying to say.
For a solid rotation 3? Sounds like another brainwash and save face attempt, if so.
Okay, so that was yours. That's how you read it?
Yeah.
Okay, because here's how I really read it. Are we throwing the development versus win debate out there because Dave has insider info?
All
right. Okay.
So I think that starts the conversation off on the wrong foot. I think if you say, hey, guy who asked this, no, that's not the case.
No, I have.
And you can move on.
have no.
Maybe it's like this. Zoinks, like, hey, Scoob. Like, our way through.
Do you have insider info?
It's Mickey Mouse.
Okay. No, I don't. Let's just go down the list here first off.
And I promise nothing Dave does is trying to brainwash people. Like, that's an outrageous use of the word brainwash.
Other than listen to the show every day. Please.
Just your army of zombie Kings fans who have been brainwashed.
Right. Yeah, because I'm the tastemaker. I mean, just
All
gosh.
Kings hockey jerseys.
Why is it everybody, not everybody, but just some people need to quit being cocked back. Stop being like the slingshot, cocked back, and just ready to fire. It's okay. I look at the Portland game, and I went back and did something I rarely do, and I hate it when people say, "Oh, I was going back and watching film." No, you weren't. You watched a freaking highlight or something, and don't say don't say you were watching film. I'm sure some people do. I didn't go back and watch film. I went back and watched I DVR'd the game. By the way, people want to know why the secret phrase is cut off on the video stream. Let me see if I can help.
Whoops. Them. Because I can. Here, I'll fix it. I'll fix it.
So, anyways, if you tune into cauley-stein.com, you can see our secret phrase, and you can kind of see our secret phrase, and maybe win Kings Denver tickets later. That's what that's all about. I look at. Oh, I got it. Look, it works perfectly. I look at what happened. The game, the Kings were down. They were down double digits. They came back. We all know that. But there are two things that seemingly people had issues with. And I'm going to address the first one, which is the shot at the end of the game and the lack of a timeout. I will tell you what I think happened. I could be wrong. I think I'm right. I don't think the timeout happened at the end of the game because I think Dave Yeager is smart enough, and this isn't just my opinion. This is the opinion of pretty much every coach in the league that believes he's the best out-of-timeout coach in the league. I think he's smart enough to know that he can call plays in previous timeouts. I think that final play was something they've worked on in practice. I think it was something that he can call out with a phrase or a number or a letter, and everybody's going to recognize it and recognize the game situation and understand what they have to do. And when you look what happened at the end of the game, De'Aaron Fox had the ball. Now, some people will say, well, why didn't Bogey have it? Why didn't Buddy have it? Because De'Aaron Fox had the ball. Because De'Aaron Fox has been very clutch for this team before, and Bogey got it versus the Lakers. And Bogey's very clutch. De'Aaron Fox is very clutch too, and is the centerpiece of this team moving forward. So you kind of got to give him some of these opportunities, and he's deserved it. They ran the play. They flared Buddy and Bogey to the sides, clearing out. De'Aaron had the ball. De'Aaron made his move, and he took a shot from basically the free throw line that was fairly uncontested. It was an open shot. It was a good shot. It was a percentage shot for him. He knocks those down. And if he knocks that down, we're not talking about anything.
Haven't we seen him hit that exact shot against the Sixers last year?
Yes.
We've seen him make shots in these moments before.
Yes.
No player ever has shot 100% from anywhere, anytime.
Even Larry Bird missed game winners. It's on tape. Look it up. The only thing I saw in that final sequence that may have been not planned is I saw Nemanja Bjelica set a screen, and when he set the screen, he brought Al-Farouq Aminu, their best defender, over with him. I don't think they wanted that. I think they simply wanted it cleared out for De'Aaron, let him make space, and let him take the shot. I didn't have a problem with the final shot at all. So the hullabaloo about that and the timeout and all that, I think that's much ado about nothing. I was fine with that, especially going back and looking at the tape and what they ended up getting. And I think if De'Aaron Fox sinks that shot, and it's a very makeable shot, a much more makeable shot than Bogey's shot versus the Lakers, I don't think we're having any of this conversation right now. We're talking about how clutch Fox is, and we're replaying Fox's shot with Bogey's shot against the Lakers, and we're all having fun.
And zero talk of rotations.
Zero talk of rotations. So let's get to rotations, because that was the second biggest issue was why did he pull Harry Giles? Well, when the Clippers made their comeback, or when the Kings made their comeback versus the Clippers a week ago, there were the Kings came up short, and there were people saying, "Well, why didn't you put the starters all back in?" The answer was because the bench got you back into it. And we talked about this a little bit yesterday. People were wondering why you pulled Harry Giles out. Harry Giles came in and he started out playing the 4, and then Willie came out and he played the 5, and there's no doubt Harry played fantastic. But here's the thing that I think, this is my opinion here, I think fans will have a very difficult time with this, what I'm about to say. I really do. But please understand, get past the emotions, and this is how the NBA works. You cannot, in that situation, pull Willie Cauley-Stein out of a clutch moment like that and leave Harry Giles in. You make rotational changes in practice before games.
Right.
The handling, and I've been hard on Willie Cauley-Stein all year long. This is not me being hard on him. Willie is just like 99% of any other NBA player and how they would react in this situation.
Sure.
If he were to get pulled after having struggling for that game in that situation, and Harry Giles, who really has no experience in those situations, Harry had gone in, you're gonna have an issue there, and not just with Willie, but with other players saying, "Whoa, we have a lot of trust," and that trust is a part of a coach's job. A big part is being a psychologist. You need to have your guys understand that they can miss 2 or 3 shots in a row and they don't have to look over their shoulder and get pulled. That's a big part of things that we can't quantify with statistics. Mm-hmm. I know that there are Kings fans right now probably listening to me pulling their hair out going, who cares if Willie is pissed? Who cares? You try to win the game, man. Who cares? Harry Giles is the future. I understand where you're coming from. But you don't make that move that way. At the end of the game, in that situation, you go with your guys. You go with the guys you have in there. Your tested guys. If you want to make that Giles, and here's another thing I'll say about Giles, and then we'll move on. He's going to play more. Like, he's earned it. Mm-hmm. And I think much like we saw Yogi Ferrell get featured over the last few games, I think you're going to start seeing that. You'll see Harry Giles in this game versus Denver. You'll see Harry Giles in the Warriors game. I think you're going to start seeing Harry Giles on the floor maybe for the longest stretch, and by that I mean consecutive games, not necessarily minutes, than you've seen before. And if he continues to perform at that capacity, he will eventually be a starter. Maybe not this year, but at some point.
Yeah, the changing of rotations and stuff takes time.
It does.
You're not just going to go play Harry Giles 25 minutes because, he's playing well that night. And then the next time he's out there, only play him 6 because he missed his first 4 shots. That's not how it works. It would be cool if it did.
Right.
It'd be really awesome, but that isn't how it goes. And they have a very clear plan for Harry Giles. They have for a long time. Mm-hmm. And if he continues to take strides the way he did in their last game, before the end of the month,
sure,
before the end of February, you're going to see Harry Giles, if not in a starting lineup, playing starter type minutes.
I think so. I think you'll see if he continues to mash numbers, and all it takes is maybe he gets left out there 20 minutes one night, and he puts up 18 points, 14 boards, and a couple of blocks. All right. Well, let's keep moving forward. Let me clean up some text here from the 916. We covered this at length at 7, but I understand people are coming in and out. What is the condition of Marvin Bagley? Marvin said yesterday he's feeling a lot better. The pain is gone. He's just got to get kind of his cardio and game shape back up. We said, and underlining this is not official. We could be dead wrong. I said if I'm a betting man, he's not playing tonight. I'd put a 25% chance he plays against the Warriors and a 75% chance he plays against the Magic. I could be dead wrong, but that's when I think he'll be back sooner rather than later. From the 916, my biggest problem with De'Aaron Fox's drive in that game was he started his attack to the basket with only 4 seconds on the clock. He caught the ball with 13 seconds on the clock. He should have been driving 6 or 7 seconds. I couldn't disagree more. That was specifically designed and timed out because if that shot falls and you expect the shot to fall, It's like in blackjack. You expect to hit a 10. You expect that shot to fall. You don't want to play like it. If it doesn't fall, you want one of two things to happen. The shot falls and the game is over. The shot misses and you go to overtime. Either way, you don't want to put the ball back in Damian Lillard's hands.
You want that to be the last shot of the game.
Correct.
Because it was Dame time.
And De'Aaron Fox made the move, created the space, and again, that's a shot I think he makes 7 or 8 out of 10 times, and that's the whole argument here. He just missed a good, not an easy look, but a good look.
I was talking to Damian Barling of the Lowdown,
Ooh, I
noon
talked
to
to
3.
Damian Barling.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
Dame
buddies
time.
with Damian Barling.
The turtleneck.
He's talking to his turtleneck yesterday. His thing was, and maybe this is what this texter was getting at, was he would have liked to see Fox go to the basket there.
Sure.
For the same reason. You know, maybe you get fouled. Maybe you get a nice look from 3 or 4 feet from the basket. But he would have liked. So if that's what that texter's saying, he would then okay, if you want him to go to the basket, then yeah, he probably has to start with 5 or 6 seconds left to make sure they're getting the last shot.
Right.
But to go at 6 or 7 to shoot a free throw line jumper that's going to leave 2 seconds on the clock, that's
right.
That's
it's
a bad
not the way to go.
Yeah.
I'll disagree with Damian a little bit here. I understand where he's coming from, but let's remember about 3-4 plays before that, De'Aaron Fox trying to go to the basket, getting in the lane, and just absolutely throwing up a garbage shot, no foul. You know, and Nurkic was blocking everything last night. I think blocked Willie either 2 or 3 times. They just weren't having that success at the basket, but I think the option was there. I think De'Aaron was allowed to read the defense, and he saw what he saw, which is I think the Blazers slacked back. They play, the Kings flared and stretched them, but the Blazers were ready should De'Aaron blow by his guy, which he very easily could have, and gone to the basket. You had 2-3 guys coming over to help.
Right.
I think De'Aaron read the defense, counted it down, and I think the Blazers defensively are counting down too. And not to get too X and O, but let me make a point here. I think if De'Aaron Fox, you have so many things going on here, Kyle, with the clock. Let's say De'Aaron Fox blows by his guy and gets to the free throw line, and there's still 4 or 3 seconds left. The defender now has 2 things to worry about. If you come over and help, your shooters are going to flare to the wings. You're leaving them alone for a wide open shot, so you have to respect that. But the defenders are watching the clock too. They have a clock right there on the other side of the court. Once that clock gets down to a certain point, they're timing Fox out as well. And once Fox commits to that free throw line jumper, they know he's not going to pass. They can now cheat and be ready in case he blows by his guy.
Right.
There's countdowns going on and timing going down on both sides, not just De'Aaron Fox. So I understand the Giles thing on both sides. I understand why fans wanted him in the game. Of course you do. Harry Giles, we hope, is the future of this ball club. We see bits of Chris Webber in the kid. He looks amazing at times. Of course you want to see that. And Willie is like the old blanket that you've had for 4 years that was real neat when you first got it and now has lost that kind of, nice, fun.
That new blanket smell.
That new blanket feel and smell. Like when your sweatshirt after you've washed, when you first get it, it's all nice and smooth on the inside.
Yeah.
But after a while, it's just all those little balls of material. Yeah, exactly. Well, Harry's the new blanket. I understand that. But that's not how it's done in the NBA.
And that's the most important thing here to me, is that's not how it's done in the NBA. This is not when people go, because the immediate overreaction is fire Dave Yeager. Mm-hmm. Willie was awful and he left him in the game, fire him. But every coach worth his salt in the NBA is playing it the exact same way.
Yeah.
There are zero coaches who win games in the NBA who are pulling a guy in a normal 30 to 35 minute guy just because he's having a bad night. There are zero coaches doing that.
Now, to be fair, just so people don't nitpick you on the text line, there are times where you can just tell a guy's not having his night.
Sure.
But more often than not, you're going to see, and we have an example in the very same game. Bogdan Bogdanovic was garbage in the first half. He was hot, burning, flaming garbage. I think it was 0 of 7 or 0 of 8, and it wasn't just missing shots. They were bad shots. They just looked horrible. And because he's earned that trust, he's earned that right, Bogdan Bogdanovic caught fire. And if it wasn't for Bogey, they're not even in that ball game at the end. He was a huge catalyst to that.
Yep.
You owe Willie Cauley-Stein, as long as he's in the starting lineup, you owe him that same thing. Now, I'm no fan of Willie's. I think he could do a lot better, blah, blah. We've been through this before. But that is a bona fide long-term starter. If you don't want him playing those minutes, then you need to stop starting him.
Yeah.
JR in the Bay Area must have just got in his car, kind of repeating what you said, and Damien said, would you rather have De'Aaron Fox go to the basket for a shot or a foul rather than shooting it from 15 feet? Well, that's what Damien brought up, and Kyle too. Again, I disagree. I think he had that option, but I think he read the defense, and I think Portland was doing really well all night at cutting off the Kings' drives to the basket. Not all the time, but for the most part, they were playing very good interior defense. They were blocking shots. They were making it difficult. They're a very fundamentally sound defensive team. I think Fox read the defense, and he took the highest percentage shot available to him.
Right, and that's a credit to him.
Yes.
Because you'll see a lot of young players, especially a player as fast as he is,
Yeah.
where they think in that moment they can just go by everybody and get to the rack.
Right.
And they put up a bad shot or they
He
get
had
their
discipline.
shot blocked. Yeah, and that's one of those learning things. And earlier this season, in that loss to the Warriors, we talked about this when it happened, was he got in a situation like that late in the game and tried to pass it, got stolen and taken the other way.
Correct, overpassing.
He took it upon himself to find an open shot. It was the last shot of the game.
Right.
And he just missed. I mean, that
It happens.
it's such a process over result thing. The process there to me was good.
I think we got a break. I think really the takeaway here, Kyle, is so we broke down the Giles thing and what we thought. We broke down the last play. I think really the fan takeaway should be this. I'm not sweating the final play. I'm not even sweating the rotational move with Giles. I think the biggest learning thing, and yesterday at practice, I can almost guarantee they're going over this on film. The biggest thing is you're up 7 with 3 minutes left, and you just played prevent defense. You stopped the ball, you stopped talking, you stopped moving, you played not to lose instead of playing to win. That's what I'm not concerned about the last play. I'm concerned with what got them to the point where they needed that last play.
Yeah.
And making that type of a difference and understanding how to close out games, which they know how to do, and we expressed that yesterday in their record and in those situations. But closing down games against the Warriors, closing down games against the Portland playoff-tested Western Conference Blue Bloods who are vulnerable. And the Kings are going to have an opportunity this weekend versus the Warriors, and I think in about a week against the Blazers. Week or 10 days, Blazers are coming back in town. They're going to see these teams again very quickly. Sam Amick will join us next. Sam Amick of The Athletic has a bunch of stuff out we'll talk about. He just wrote about Paul George in Oklahoma City. Paul George had an interesting night in Los Angeles. I'm going to ask him about Garrett Temple and Omri Caspi getting into it, and we'll go over a few things, of course, here in Sacramento.
Also want to remind you we're giving away tickets to tonight's Kings game. 2 pairs of tickets. You can win a pair of those tickets by calling in with the secret phrase at 8:05. 8:05, I'll unlock the phone lines, and you can call in. Tell me the secret phrase for today. You can find it on the stream at khtk.com. We've got the live stream up during the break. It'll be up. You'll be able to see it during Sam's interview. And call in at 805-800-920-1140 and win a couple of Kings tickets for tonight. More info at khtk.com. Also, the live streams at khtk.com. All KHTK giveaways are powered by RoseLautomo.com.
And somebody was saying on the text line, say, well, what about your longtime most loyal listeners that are listening all 3 hours? Man, some of us won't even have a chance to win now because we're not saying it on the air. You can go to KHTK.com at any time. You're going to see the phrase within 30 seconds of watching the stream. And he said, well, I'm driving. I said, well, first off, I don't think you're driving for 2 hours. Secondly, even if you are, I don't know, pull over. Don't, do it while you're driving, obviously, but it's pretty easy. Can I say what it rhymes with?
No.
Okay. We'll take a break.
It does have to do with something we were just talking about.
Something the Kings need to get better at.
Yes.
From this location. What, you think that was
That's way too easy. We got a
What?
break.
It could be in their home court. It's the drive. Sports 1140 KHTK.